Well, hello everyone, and welcome to The Horror Snob. My name's Michael James. I am The Horror Snob, here today with another fresh Frights selection for you. A movie I have to say I'm pleasantly shocked by, given the fact that the name sounds like some sort of direct-to-VHS B-movie bomb from the mid-'80s. The movie in particular we're talking about today, a Netflix original that just dropped called Vampires vs. the Bronx. I told you, that title kind of says something, doesn't it? It's hard for us who were children of the 80s, 70s, to not hear a name like that and immediately think it's synonymous with shit like Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, Surf Nazis Must Die, or Psycho Cop Returns. Right? I mean, just the worst of the worst B-movies that you could possibly think of. The last thing you would possibly pick off the shelf when you've run out of all other options because you've already watched them a couple dozen times. That's what this thing sounds like. To the complete opposite, though, it reads a hell of a lot more like Attack the Block, with elements of things like Lost Boys or Monster Squad going back to the 80s again. In fact, this movie really reads mostly like a modernized version of Lost Boys. There's even a scene late in the movie, right about the last 15 to 20 minutes, almost spot on identical to a scene in the caves in Lost Boys, the original Lost Boys movie from the 80s. For those of you who are fans of those movies, Attack the Block, Monster Squad, Lost Boys, Dusk Till Dawn, a lot of the makeup effects for the vampires in this movie, Vampires vs. the Bronx, looks and feels a lot like what we've seen in Lost Boys and in From Dusk Till Dawn. That high brown, stern, deep eye socket, the teeth, the whole thing. I mean, it just reads very similar to those movies. If you're fans of those, I imagine it should not be a stretch for you to be a fan of this movie. A fun, really relaxed, great movie that's going to be a phenomenal intro movie for younger viewers. I see often on the horror boards, the different Facebook groups and things of that nature, where we're all having discussions, talking about our favorite movies. People constantly asking, hey, I've got a young kid, 8, 10, 12, wants to start watching horror films with me. What's a good movie to use as an introduction? This movie, Vampires vs. the Bronx, is a great way to go. The downside for us as adults, you're not going to get all the blood and guts and gore you might want that you would get from a vampire film like From Dusk Till Dawn, but there's still enough adult theme, enough attraction as a horror film, and enough entertainment value for the moments of comedy throughout it to keep us engaged while allowing those younger viewers to have something they can latch onto as sort of that gateway drug into real, deep, dark, bloody horror films, the things we have loved and watched for decades. A great movie, a fun movie, really following a group of 3 kids as they slowly figure out one by one that there are vampires in the Bronx buying up their community and forcing them all out. Once they're discovered, the vampires, of course, begin to retaliate, and on it goes, as we can always expect. A few different reveals throughout, but none of them are so off the wall that they're not expected or anticipated. It's really a mosh of things you would expect from a movie like this. A movie that takes you back to your youth, reminding you of simpler days, that nostalgia that really just warms our hearts. A sensation that's put onto us almost from the get-go with the landscape, the feel, the premise of the story, the makeup effects as we talked about, all of it very well done, well written, well scripted, well photographed, good effects, but also well acted. A group relatively unknown, the 3 kids we're following, not going to be names or people that you recognize from 2 or 3 dozen things. If for no other reason other than they're just too young to have that huge of a catalog of work as of yet. But right from the get-go, some of the immediate characters we're introduced to let us know that this is probably going to be a pretty good film. When you see people like Zoe Saldana and Shea Wiggum in the opening scene, and you can't sit there but just watch, mouth agape going, what the hell are these 2 people doing in this movie? You know it's going to be a good flick. And shortly thereafter, we get Method Man. Now, I'm more likely to believe that Method Man would be in this kind of movie, but Method Man as a Catholic priest? No. That was certainly not on my list of things to expect. A solid group of actors that all did their job well, backed by a small group of veteran people we are very familiar with that certainly play their individual roles equally as well. For my view, I have to give this movie an A-, one of the better things I have seen in a while. A really fun, really enjoyable movie. I might have to go back to it here in a couple weeks as we get closer to Halloween. All right. That's it for me today. As always, I invite you to take a moment, hit the like and subscribe buttons while you're here, and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought of this film, if you've seen it, and if not, are you going to watch it? My name's Michael James. I am the Horror Snob. As always, I thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.